talk about a holiday tradition that maybe not everybody knows about and is honestly a little bit creepy and dark at times, but I think it's well worth talking about. So today, I am going to tell you about Krampus. Krampus, 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 Krampus. As you can tell, I'll be lightly chewing on some gum, and I have a few triggers here and there throughout my story that I'll be using. So I'm just gonna jump right in. So, for those of you who do not know anything about Krampus, he is a popular individual. He's actually half demon, half goat, which sounds, I know it sounds really creepy. He's very creepy, but like I said, it's very interesting, so just stay with me. And this tradition is very popular in parts of Germany, Austria, Slovakia, Slovenia, Hungary, parts of northern Italy, and it's becoming increasingly more popular in the United States. There's been a Krampus movie that came out not that long ago, and it was a high-level film, so it's definitely making its way over here, and it's a really unique tradition. So anyway, what Krampus looks like, again, super creepy. He's very hairy, kind of like this brush. I always pull this brush out because I love it. So he's hairy like this brush. And he's typically brown or black. This is how he's described anyway. Brown or black. And he has hooves and horns like a goat, because he's half goat. He also has a very long pointed tongue. He has fangs. And just overall, he's a scary dude. People are very intimidated by Krampus, obviously. And just a fun fact, the word Krampus, I think, is derived from Krampin. I think I wrote it down. Let me see if that's true. Yeah, Krampin, which means claw in German. Yeah, so I'll talk more about his history later on, but I want to talk about first why he's relevant. Why am I even talking about this guy? So, for a lot of people, particularly in the United States, we hear a lot about Santa Claus, right? Santa Claus, Santa Claus, Santa Claus, Santa Claus, Santa Claus. And he comes and either gives you presents for being good or nice, or he'll leave you cold if you've been bad or naughty. And that's what we know. And that's a very non-threatening tradition, right? It's not that scary. It's like, oh no, I didn't get an Xbox, I got coal, like whatever. But in these places that I described, where Krampus is very real to them, it's a little bit different. So they have Saint Nicholas, and then they have Krampus, and they're sort of yin and yang with each other. So obviously Saint Nicholas is the good guy, like the good cop, and then you have Krampus, who is the bad cop. And on the evening of December 5th, one of the two will show up for you as a child. So if you've been good, Saint Nicholas will come and he will give you either some candy it's exactly Reese's, but some kind of candy. Reese's. Okay. He'll leave you candy. Or he'll leave you fruit. doesn't want an orange for Christmas? And so that's exciting. And the way that you receive gifts is not down your chimney and under your Christmas tree. It's actually in a shoe that you leave outside on your doorstep. So it could be a boot like this. And St. Nicholas would come by and put your candy or fruit in your shoe. And I'm sure that these traditions vary in different countries and regions and whatnot. But that seems to be a general practice. Okay. So that's all good. That would be great if you saw St. Nicholas. But if you've been bad, you don't see him. You see Krampus. And I don't really know how to say this in a way that's not dark, but he basically will come and terrorize children in some way, shape, or form that is very unpleasant. So, again, we talked about the shoe. A lot of times, kids would leave sticks or twigs or branches in their shoes, or Krampus would come and bring them. And he would beat children with those sticks. Very nice, right? I don't have any sticks in my apartment, so I have a ruler. It's like sort of like a stick. But yeah, so he would come by, he would take a stick, and he would whip you with it. I know. Or alternatively, if he didn't want to do that, he would drag you back to his evil lair and torture you. He's very scary. Like, I can't. And if that wasn't enough, he would simply just eat you. So if that's not enough to, like, scare the living daylights out of you, I don't know. It's a lot scarier than getting coal under your tree. That's for sure. So don't be bad. And again, he is a demon, right? So he, I think, is the son of Norse, who is a god of the underworld. That's the tradition of it. And just as a side note, it's really interesting that this is a Christmas tradition in a lot of countries, because the origin of Krampus is actually a Germanic pagan tradition. So it's interesting that it turned into a Christmas thing, because pagan and the whole thing, it just doesn't, it's weird. It's a weird trajectory, but that's okay. Speaking of pagan and all of that, I have some tea in my witch's brew cup. I thought it kind of aligned. Okay. So anyway, so super scary. You don't want to see Krampus. And not only does he carry around these bundles of sticks or whatever, alternatively, he may carry around a whip. And you oftentimes will hear him coming, because sometimes he'll be wearing bells. I don't want these to be too loud, so I'm going to kind of keep them back here. But in the distance, you can hear Krampus. He's coming. It's very scary. So yeah, of it, the story of it all. People do actually see Krampus out in the world, because that is part of the tradition. So I believe it's called Krampus Lauf. I wrote it down. I didn't want to mess this up. This is not a tradition that I myself have practiced, but I know of it, and I wanted to do a story time on it. So I might be messing a little bit of this up. Let's see. So yeah, Lauf, or Krampuslauf, which means Krampus Run, is a night where people, typically adult men, dress up as Krampus with big wooden masks and the bells and the whips and the sticks or branches, whatever they want to accessorize with. They dress up as Krampus. Oh, sorry, there's a dog. And they run out in the street and they terrorize people, both children and adults. And it's like a fun, festive holiday thing that happens every year. But it's like not fun also. And also, this happens around December 5th. That's when St. Nicholas and Krampus come out and do their thing. And I don't know, it just sounds scary to me having a lot of Krampuses running around. And there have been reports of them actually bruising people and getting like way too into it. But again, it's part of the culture and the history of it, and to most it's seen as good fun, but is also probably wildly traumatic for some children, I would assume. I don't know, but I know it sounds really bad in some respects, but if you think about the Grimm fairy tales, which are like Hansel and Gretel, Rapunzel, Little Red Riding Hood, all of those fairy tale stories that we grew up with and love, are also not pleasant. They're really not. They've been adapted to be more child-friendly, but they're just as dark and twisted, and usually end up with children being eaten. That's just like a very European thing. And it kind of always has been. So while Krampus does seem like a bit much, it's not abnormal for traditions and storytelling and things like that. It's just how it is. So take it or leave it, you know. Yeah, and then I feel like that pretty much covers what happens. I just like to point out too that when thinking about Santa Claus and, oh, you've been naughty or nice, like you're either getting presents or you're getting coal. I feel like with St. Nicholas and Krampus, it's a lot more meaningful, and I don't know, I appreciate it a lot more, I think, because it's really focused on good versus evil. I mean, you obviously have a saint and a demon, right? Like, you can't really get more opposite than that. And so it becomes this like thing of morality, you know, like, and it's more of an all year round sort of feeling. I read that families often keep a little jar or decorative thing of twigs, painted twigs that they've decorated to sort of signify the threat of Krampus, which is more of the threat of what happens if you're not a good person and what does that do for you. I mean, you can interpret it however you want, but I really do see it as a personal level. Like, am I a good person? Am I doing the right thing throughout throughout the year. Like, who am I? When I start to do bad things, what does that tell me? Who am I becoming? I feel like the questions are bigger, and they're obviously a lot less consumerist based, which is something I don't like about, the US Christmas holiday. Because it's all based on material items and gifts, and kids only being good because they want things, and I don't think that's sending the right message. Now, I'm not saying we should tell our kids that they're going to be eaten if they don't seek higher ground and like take the high road and all that, but I just feel like the traditions are rooted differently, obviously, but I don't know. I think they're sending different messages, so I can appreciate it. I should also mention the history of this tradition is quite interesting. It was banned multiple times because it scared the living daylights out of people. A lot of churches, they did not like Krampus because he is a demon. Duh. That doesn't really coincide with what they are promoting as a church, right? So I wrote some stuff down about that. Let me see. Sorry, different page. Okay, so the Catholic Church tried banning Krampus during the 12th century, and then again in 1934. But in 1934, it was through Austria's Christian Social Party. So, on more than one occasion, they were like, we cannot have Krampus, this is not what we are looking to do. And it's scary. Like, we can all agree that it's scary. But everyone was like, no, we love Krampus, we're keeping him. We want him to be in our lives. And that's the thing too, is like, from an outsider's perspective, you're kind of like, why are we doing this? Why do people do this? But it really is a beloved tradition to a lot of people. As scary as it is, it's meaningful to them. It's something that's been passed down from generation to generation. It's just, everyone's different. Everybody likes what they like, and they're raised in a different way. That's why I think it's important to be aware of that, to be open to other perspectives and thoughts and traditions and things like that, because people are going to be different and think different things, and that's okay. That's more than okay. That's a good thing. So yeah, they tried banning it. Didn't work. And I read an article recently about Krampus. Sorry, the cars are really loud right now. It's late, like, go home. But I read an article, and it was talking about how Krampus has been revitalized, and is becoming bigger and bigger every year in certain parts. And they were sort of talking about how some people are afraid that immigrants are going to get the wrong idea about Krampus, and that it's going to terrify them, and they're not going to want to stay in Austria. But the majority, as the article sounded, felt completely the other way. They felt like it would be an honor for them to learn such an important tradition and to really become a part of the culture. And the best way to get involved is to just kind of face it head on. So again, they're like, no, we're keeping Krampus. He's a huge part of our community, and immigrants will love him. Which I think is great. I think Krampus is really cool. Again, like I said, because of what I think the greater meaning to him is. And just historically, it's really interesting. Like I said, how it went from like a Germanic pagan background to becoming like this big Christmas tradition. I mean, even my German professor in college would talk about it during the holidays. was such a big thing for her throughout her life, and how she would always decorate her little sticks for Krampus, and how happy she was when she got fruit in her shoe. And not, you know, a trip to his lair or to the underworld or eaten, what have you. And she's just fine. She's not terrorized by it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say about Krampus. I think I'm gonna watch the movie soon, though I'm nervous that it's not gonna be true to like the tradition of it all, because you know how movies are. I guess we'll see. But it looks kind of good. I love horror movies, so I think I'll enjoy it. I feel so weird just like playing with an orange. I don't know. But yeah, so that is my story time. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think of Krampus. I know I have a lot of German followers, so let me know if this is a tradition that you partake in, or if it's not even on your radar, what you think in general. If you're not German or Austrian or a country that participates, let me know what you think as well, and how you celebrate the holiday season. For me, I feel like I have sort of a weird tradition. I spend it with my family, and on Christmas Day, we go to the movies, we order Chinese food, and we just like veg out on the couch after that. It's nothing crazy. I don't know why. That's just kind of what we've done. We have a really small family, and we get together and have like our dinner and everything on Christmas Eve. So Christmas Day is sort of like it's already over. And everything's closed, so that's like, except for like the movies and Chinese restaurants and things like that. So that's my little tradition. But yeah, anyways. Thank you for joining me. Go Google photos of Krampus if you want to be frightened, if you're curious. And I hope you have a beautiful holiday season. I'll be back super soon with another video. And yeah, thanks for watching. Feel free to subscribe, like, comment, all that stuff. Sorry, this is like a super long outro. I just like feel like talking today, I guess. Okay, that's it. I'm leaving.